Welcome to MSP Unplugged. I'm your host, Corey Kirkendall. This is the place to learn how to run your MSP. Whether you're a member MSP or leading a team for the journey, this is the place for you. Joining me today is my co-host, straight from Elizabeth, New Jersey, Mr. Rick from Renactus Technology. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Out here in nice and warm Denver, up in the Mile High, but feeling good. Great
All right.
party.
All right, you flew out of Newark, right? So you got out of there.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
out of there. Yeah, they made some improvements. That I think the day before I left is when they reopened the runway because that's where there was some issues at, and I guess the air traffic control people are back now. We got out on time.
It's a good thing.
Well,
I
well,
hope
well.
they're here when so I can get home too.
Well, I don't know what happened that day. I think they sent it to Dallas, man, because the weather been crazy, man. I didn't get in till late last night. I'm a whole day and eat late, but it's all good. Well, today, man, we have a legend in the midst. You know, the new CEO of GTIA, Dan Wensley. How you doing?
I'm
man?
great.
Good
I'm
to
great.
see you,
Thanks for
brother.
having me.
Same
Appreciate
here.
it. Good
Glad
to see you. All right.
to have you.
So Dan, man, it was suspense for a long time. I've been a member of CompTIA, now GTIA, for a long time, and they was like, man, we're looking for a CEO. Here's what's up, and then boom, here it is, mic drop. So tell me, man, how's it been, and how's it been in this role, and tell me what you've been up to.
Well, it's been great. I mean, this is 30 years in the making. So, it happened overnight. But I've talked to a lot of people. It feels like, I've been preparing for this role for my 30-year career. I've been a member of GTIA, formerly CompTIA, for over 20 years. I participated at all the channel cons. So to have the opportunity to come in and join this organization at this level and work with such a great team that has done so much for me personally, my career, the businesses that I've owned and operated. It's a real blessing to have this opportunity and work with the membership that has given me so much over the last 30 years.
That's what's up. I mean, I don't think people really know Dan, right? You've been around we just had Rob here a few minutes ago, right? We know you and Rob go way back,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You know, when I sit there, man, all y'all need is that Cadillac, like the Blues Brothers, and just roll through, right? That's what's happening, right? So give us a little bit of the history, man. You say 30 years, but,
Yeah.
you've been around, man. You've been, level platforms, you've been at Scale Pad, you've been around in the industry, and so you really understand what it's all about, man. Give us that background.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. As I entered into this industry, that long ago, had the opportunity to work with some incredible, innovative new technologies that brought in, whether it was the managed services, whether it was security, early days of cloud and SaaS. Yeah. It's been incredibly rejuvenating every time. Rob's putting on another great show for us here, which he has done so many times over so many years, and had the great privilege of working with him and a great team at Level Platforms. But I go back a couple of businesses before Level and got into this really early. And it's what I've loved about it every stage is the constant evolution. It's why an organization like the communities that are run, the peer groups that are run, like we're doing at GTIA, are so vitally important because it's always evolving, always changing, and that's what makes this industry so great.
Man, when I look at it is, and we sit it down quite a bit, man, is that you bring the sales, you understand where it comes from, and where it comes from. I think the challenge over the past, I've been in CompTIA, not as long, GTI as long as you, but the challenge is, man, it's like the best kept secret. How do you choose, how are you going to impact to make that different, to get it out there so people are more aware that that is the place to be? Because again, man, those who get into it either fell into it by accident, and once they're in, they're like, wow, where's this been hiding all my life?
Yeah, I had the privilege of serving on the board of CompTIA over a decade ago, and that exact quote is something I shared. I do think it was the best kept secret in the industry. The amount of research, information, camaraderie, community, resources, data, just the opportunity for me to interact with some of the peers and others. As Rob and I were building Level Platforms, for example, we had to get outside that tunnel vision of just our scope, and it really did expose us. So it's been an incredible value, and I think coming in, and one of the things I'm looking at as CEO now is how can we grow? Not having the split sort of mind of running the CompTIA side of the business, the certification, the training, is really freed us up to focus on growth for the community and the membership, which again, CompTIA has done a great job for,
right,
but for far too few. I'm really excited on what the organization has already done globally, expand in some of our communities globally. We're going to double down on that. We're going to expand on that. We're going to do more for more is really the mantra.
No, that's good stuff, man. You know, and as you start to go out there, right, and you've seen it evolve, right? So back when you were doing it at Level and some of the, you had the term MSP, ISV, whatever it is, and now PAX8 come out with a new term.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that, man. The MIP, right? You know, it's like the MIB. Where we at?
That's what I was thinking.
So what do you think about that? And I think it fits.
I think it's natural.
Yeah.
It's time. We're ready. I mean, let's look back a little. We were resellers. Then we were value-added, the VAR. Then it was solution provider. Then there was a little time period where we were a total solution provider. And then MSP came along. And MSP for most of us has been around 10, 15 plus years. So I think it's time. I think one of the messages that it really resonates, whether we change it to MIP or VCIO, these MSPs, the IT service provider community, they're looking to differentiate themselves, but they've also consistently added what is at their core of value, which is knowledge of the industry, knowledge of the new technologies, and been able to share that with their customers. And that's why, you know, Rob's got, 3,000 or 4,000 of us here, sharing those ideas, learning from each other, so that we can go back and they can talk to their customers about it. So that's been the consistency, but everything else has changed. The names have changed, the titles have changed, but the value remains the same.
That's true. That's true. You know, as I sit back and I look, man, there's only one place in the true community where there's a good faith of vendor as well as the MSP community gets together, and that's in GTIA.
Yeah.
One of the conferences I talk about all the time, which is one of my favorite, is CCF, right? If I could take CCF model and make it that way all the time, it's amazing, because when you're in there, there's a blend. It doesn't seem like there's vendors or MSPs. It's just a community of people getting together.
Yeah.
How do you take that to the next level? How do you get more exposure to that? Because I think that's what everybody needs to feel.
Yeah, listen, I've been a vendor partner and member of GTIA for, like I said, 20 years, and we have an obligation and a responsibility as a vendor to come in and do our part to obtain, work with our partners, find new partners. The differentiator for GTIA is, as a not-for-profit trade association that is now extremely well-funded, we're agnostic, we're vendor agnostic. We can, to your right, just come together, and that vibe has been a constant throughout the last number of years, and now we can double down on that. We're going to expand. We're bringing in more innovative speakers. We're bringing in more keynote. We're bringing this community together better than ever. I'm excited for this year's ChannelCon under the GTIA banner, and you're right, we need to do more for more.
Nah, that's awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it as we were talking about how we've evolved from, I guess even from that break-fix model to that, all the way up to now where I guess they're going to be now MIPs, and we've made this joke and we've had this conversation about all of these different acronyms, and it all seems to now be falling into one thing, and that's AI, right? That because all these 2-letter, 3-letter, 5-letter acronyms have now come back to two simple letters. So when we're thinking about the future, what do you think? How do you see the role of AI, and how are you guys, fitting into that to help us along that path?
Yeah, number one is facilitate the conversation. There is no doubt that AI has replaced cybersecurity at the top of the moniker of what we're talking about. But cyber hasn't gone anywhere. Service delivery model hasn't gone anywhere. Hardware and access and all of that hasn't gone anywhere. We're just adding and layering on, as we've been known to do throughout the years. We had to bring in the internet, we had to bring in cloud, we had to bring in SaaS, we had to bring in cyber, we're now bringing in AI. And I think what's most important is that the speed of which these new technologies are now being adopted by the customers, by the MSPs, that's accelerating. So I think there's no more important time than us to come together as a community to have these conversations, because it's moving fast. Now, is your customer, the vertical you work in, is it ready for AI? Some will be, some won't. Some will take a little longer. But certainly what I've always loved about our industry is you must remain a student of it. You must come back and get educated, and that's where we excel at GTIA. To your point, all vendors, all communities, all IT service providers come together at GTIA and ChannelCon to have these conversations.
The reason we exist is because you cannot stay ahead of all threats. It's impossible to detect every threat out there before it becomes an issue. So what we do is we block by default. And when you block everything by default, it really doesn't matter if it's known to be bad. If it's not on the list, it cannot run in your environment. And that is our core focus. Zero trust principles, block first, limit what applications can do. And the other stuff, yes, we chase the threats, we hunt the threats, we do everything else, but that's the backup. The core of ThreatLocker is zero trust. The team is a real part of it. Cyber heroes, we call them, and they range from everyone from the marketing department right through 24-hour, 365-day-a-year support to our clients, which is less than 30-second response time. We've got some of the most advanced threat intelligence team, advanced development teams in the world, and we're constantly hiring and growing that team, and that's what allows us to deliver the best service.
When I think about GTIA and where it comes from, I still think people don't really understand what that's about. And I think the unique challenge is that back in the day it was very North America focused, right? But there's a reason why it's called GTIA, right?
Yes, sir.
Global. And that brings a whole nother set of things onto a plate that says, because it's not led by North America, it's led by what we do across the globe and everywhere we go. Give us an idea for those who are maybe not be members, what exactly do you offer, and what's the benefit that you guys bring to the table?
Yeah, so at the pinnacle is ChannelCon, right? So we have North American ChannelCon that's coming up in just a few weeks here for us in Nashville. We also have EMEA ChannelCon, so we've now started to do our major premier conference internationally, but more importantly is the community meetings that happen throughout the globe. So, half a dozen communities that come together at least twice a year face-to-face and talk about what's important in their regions, because it does change. What Asia Pac is seeing versus North America versus any other community you can look at, they have some regional things that they want to talk about. Adoption curves might be slower, might be faster. They need to have that. But then we all benefit from the global perspective. Yeah. Those communities come together and talk about, okay, this is happening over here. We might be a little ahead of the curve in our market, so here's what we learned, and we can all benefit from that. So that's the exciting part about truly being global now, is giving the regional perspective and the regional voice, but bringing it together on a global scale so we can all benefit.
So I love that, but there's a lot of tools and access to things that if you're not a member you don't know about, like the ISAL, the trust mark. You got all the, I don't think people, I remember, I think that came over with you guys from a research perspective, that you guys actually do more research than the government does, and they come and grab your information. Like, we have access to all this data that's there. So give a kind of a flow about it. Like, these are all the programs and the benefits that are out there. Like I say, it's the best kept secret.
You said it, best kept secret.
Best kept secret.
The resources are incredible. I mean, I always look like a hero in the businesses I ran, because they say, hey, we need to understand, the SMB buying trends. Okay, no problem. I've got that for you, because we're a member of GTIA, and the research paper is there and available. So Carol and April and her team do an incredible job around the research and about pulling, and not only getting the research done, but then thinking it through, understanding it, talking to other members. How do you see this impacting your business? And then bringing that back. And what's incredible is the research is driven by the membership. So again, I've been a vendor for 30 years. I understand. When we would do research, it would be in the vertical. If I was in cybersecurity, I was doing research on cybersecurity adoption. At GTIA, the members are telling us, look, we'd like to understand, as an example, how is cybersecurity going to be affected by AI? Now, maybe there's a vendor out there going to do that, maybe there isn't, but our members ask for it from us, and we're going to deliver it, and there it is for them. So from any aspect of running a business, from the vendor side, from the IT service provider, if you need it, we're here to facilitate it and bring it, and it's our job, to your point, expose that to more people.
Now there's I guess I'll ask this. There's the concept, and then there was the CompTIA portion of this, and that GTIA. Yes. Explain, just quick. I know it's a little bit of an involved story, but the I don't want to say split, but the movement.
Yes, it's all fair. So CompTIA in the day had the membership side, what we know with ChannelCon and all that we're doing, but it was really founded on a plus on training and certification. So the revenue of a nonprofit was derived out of that training facility. and all of those certifications. And that is what the PE firms purchased with CompTIA. So they bought the training, the certifications, and that whole business went along with that sale. The funds from that sale stayed and resides with GTIA. So we have an endowment now that we are very healthy financially to be able to give back solely to the community and to our membership. And we don't have I would never call it a distraction, because that training is so important. And even as a GTIA member now, you can get discounts on traditional CompTIA training and certification. So that's a great member benefit for GTIA. But now GTIA, all we're about is the members 100% of the time, and there's no division even within our organization that does that, because that's what CompTIA does around the training and certification. So we're there to focus and do good business for them.
Nah, I love it, man. So when you sit back there, there's a lot of organizations where you come in and there's things out that look like GTIA, smell like GTIA, but they're not GTIA, and they say, hey, it's for one person or the organization. So if I join as a member, is that just for me as the owner, or does that go to everybody in my company has access to these
Everybody in the company. Again, the best kept secret. I would tell my staff at ScalePad all the time, it's like everybody has access.
Yeah.
We were 250 people at ScalePad, and everybody had access, whether you were in the human resources department or the development organization or in sales or in marketing. GTIA had resources to help us. And it was always, what's our password again for GTIA? that was the biggest mystery that was going on. So once we got over that and the team started using it, it was great. I would use it all the time for new staff. So as they were coming into the channel, I would pull the latest research from GTIA and say, here's the market you're coming into. Here's how big it is. Here's how much revenue it is. Here's how many vendors there are. Here's how many MSPs there are.
Yeah.
And I use that as an educational tool throughout my 20-year career.
No, I love it. And we leverage it in the same way, man, is I feed some of that data back into our particular model that I get from GTIA into our LLM to train, man. It actually makes it better, because now I can actually sit there and say, hey, here's a true way of how nonprofits use technology to do X from that perspective, which is cool.
I want to take a quick minute to talk about today's sponsor, ScalePad Control Map, the only compliance platform built for MSPs. If you're being asked to lead on compliance but not sure where to start, or stuck in spreadsheets or juggling tools that weren't built for you, you're not alone. Most tools make compliance harder. Control Map was built to simplify, scale, and sell compliance as a service. Automated frameworks like SOC 2, HIPAA, and more, cutting the busy work, and gives you everything you need to go all the way to audit. Turn what used to feel overwhelming into a repeatable revenue-driving service. Most compliance tools create work. Control Map helps you build a business. Learn more at scalepad.com/unplugged.
Now, what's unique about GTIA, you have this thing called councils.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So the councils are around, AI is a great example. So if the membership says, look, we need to understand how AI is going to be affected by cybersecurity, or cybersecurity is going to affect AI, we need to start a council, an executive committee to talk about that. And we want to sit, and this is what I loved about what it did for me over the last 20 years. We had one for managed services, we had one for cyber, and you could go in and let's talk about those issues. So think of it as sort of silos of concepts or ideas or emerging that I'm interested in. I might have my MSP business dialed in, but I need to know about AI so I can go and do that. And you can interact with other MSPs, with other vendors, all on a level playing field. There's nobody who owns the stage, it is the member who owns it.
Yeah. When I first started, CompTIA had a couple of things. They had a managed print trust mark, they had a managed service trust mark, they had a security trust mark, and we've seen it come and go, and now it's back. Yeah. So what's going on with that? I think you guys got a security trust mark now.
Yeah. The challenges around the trust marks in their foundation are so solid and so important. Yeah. Best practices around how to do cyber and these kind of things. What the membership saw, though, is the adoption and what they were getting out of the value back to their end user wasn't always there. So we needed to find a way, working with our members, of how can we make these trust marks more valuable. Yeah. The concepts around how to do it were great. They still hold true today, but how do we make it valuable so they get a return on it?
Yeah. When I sit back and look at it and I go back, not only do you have an organization that cares about the community, you got some pretty powerful players in the community. Wayne, Chris Johnson, MJ, right? Talk about the team, man.
The team is incredible. Yeah, Kelly Ricker, who came back, who was with CompTIA when I was on the board a decade ago. She's a COO, best I've ever worked with. Incredible, and no slag to other COOs I've worked with, but Kelly's the best. She is so great. Great team, and don't forget about our board of directors. I mean, I served, as I said, on the board a decade ago. Great board, thinkers in the industry who are really setting the tone for where we need to go and why we need to go there. And then everybody who contributes to all of those all of the committees and the councils and the membership meetings that we've got. It's such a great collaboration. We've got to do a better job talking about all the people who do it. You've done it for years, right? So we've got to share more with the audience that these are the folks doing it and make it aspirational. It's one of the reasons we were the best kept secret in the industry, is because we didn't highlight all the work that was being done and really promote it, and it's time to do that.
It's kind of like having your tools and you only use 10% of it, or you only know about 10% of it.
Definitely. So, like I say, a lot of our listeners out there, man, we talk about, well, no matter what stage you are in your MSP or your growth, that was the whole purpose of what our show is all about, is we want to bring something to the table to allow you to grow. And you never get to the point where you stop doing that. So if you had to share something with our listeners of them who want to know about Dan, or you want to know about what GTIA is, what would that be to them?
So we're really centered, the team has been so receptive to growth, and that's a great word, because that's something I came into the conversation about taking on this role as CEO. I want to grow this organization. I want to do more for more, and the team has been so receptive to that, which is really exciting. And then we sort of deciphered, well, what are going to be the core pillars of what we want to do to accomplish that? Just to say growth is not good enough. So we've focused on 4 core pillars. First is people. This industry is built on people. Technologies come and go and always advance, but it's around the people. That's why there's 4,000 of us here at Beyond. The second is resources. We've touched a little bit on that in this conversation. We're going to double down on the resources and the assets that we're able to bring to the community and give back to the members on what they're looking for. The third pillar is community. To really maintain that community, that peer group status, that we can bring this great channel together and use our funding to be able to do that in a new way. And the last one is advancement, and it really ties into growth. And we debated whether it should be advancement or growth, and it does center in growth, but whether you're coming to GTIA to advance your own career, advance your own knowledge, advance your own business opportunities or understanding of the market, we always want to make sure there's an outcome for our members. It's not just they're doing great philanthropy work, contributing to our charitable organization and all the great things we do with that, but there's got to be a return on investment. I've reminded our team that GTIA is not for profit. Our members are for profit. So we've got to be driving some value for them.
Now, I was going to say, when you talk about coming to GTIA, how does one go about doing that? What is the steps to become a member?
GTIA.org. Yeah, I mean, the membership fees are really, really minor compared to the value, the amount of research, the data, the community. It's an annual small fee to become a member. Gives you full access to everything, and it gives you full access to all of your staff, as you mentioned before. So whether you're a 5-person company or a 5,000-person company, every one of your staff get access to all the research and all the assets that we've got available.
No, it's a powerful, man, and as you go down to, I think you touched on something that I don't believe they really got, and really got a chance to see. You guys give away a lot back to organizations and charitable organizations out there, and there's some incredible stories of the monies that we've donated to schools and places down in South America or other countries that it just changed the whole game from that perspective. And we just finished our round of voting, man. I can't wait to see a ChannelCon of the impact that we're going to make. It's going to be crazy. So tell us a little about how does that work, and how do you get people nominated to go do those things?
Again, it's member driven. So the members bring us where there's opportunities. This year we're going to give away over $2 million in cash donations and charitable givings to what the members have brought to us as opportunities to advance the channel, to advance technology, to help people out anywhere in the world when it comes to what we can do, and that's all member driven. So what an incredible differentiator and opportunity and privilege it is to be able to do that. I've been in for-profit businesses my whole career. I know that drive for growth. I want to bring that drive for growth, but now less worried about, hitting that revenue number more than just how can we make the money that we have more valuable to our members.
No, I love it. Dan, man, I definitely appreciate your time, and thanks for coming out on the show, man. And Rick, any other questions you have before we close it out?
No, I think we're good. I do want to thank you. I know it's been a busy
you guys
couple
too.
of days.
You've been sitting here talking for 2 days,
Yeah.
so thank you.
But it's all. I mean, this is what we do. But I know you're in demand, and it's been a busy time. So I do appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, telling us about GTIA. And we will have in the show notes the website and some information.
And you'll be at ChannelCon too.
And we'll be at ChannelCon.
So I want to thank you guys. I mean, this kind of event and what you guys do to share the message of all the people you've had in this chair, I thank you for what you're doing for the community, because that's a part of it too. Just get the message out. So I appreciate you giving us the opportunity with GTIA to share the story, and for being members for so long as well. So thank you, and we'll see you at ChannelCon.
For sure. All right. Hey, tune in every week. You can catch our video podcast on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Subscribe, and hit that notification button, and you'll be notified when a new episode is available. You can also take us on the go with your favorite podcaster app. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Again, on behalf of Rick and myself and Dan, we thank you, and we wish you well to our next episode.